This is Damon Fordham, Adjunct Professor of History at Springfield College and Virginia College here in Charleston, South Carolina. And I'm also the author of this book, True Stories of Black South Carolina. You'll notice this gentleman on the cover. His name is George Washington Murray. Mr. Murray has a very unsung but important place in American history. Back in 1894, Mr. Murray was one of the last black state legislatures from South Carolina in the days after Reconstruction. In 1895, the blacks of South Carolina were stripped of their right to vote. But while he was in Congress, Mr. Murray did something that was very important. In the Congressional Record that's published of the Congressional Goings-On, on August the 10th, 1894, Mr. Murray was aware of the situation happening with his people. They were being denied their right to vote, they were being lynched, and the segregation laws were about to come into power. So he got up and made a resolution, and this is part of what he said. "We have proven in almost every line that we are capable of doing what other people can do. We have proven that we can work as much as other people. We have proven that we can learn as well as other people, and we have proven that we can fight as well as other people, as was demonstrated in the late war. They are still, however, traducers and slanderers of our race, who complain that we are not equal to others because we have failed to produce inventions, because, as they say, we have not contributed to the progress that has been made in the invention of useful implements and machinery." Well, what Mr. Murray tried to do was show how false that was. He decided to read into the Congressional Record, which can never be altered or erased, the names of 94 African Americans who invented various things. Among them, he mentioned Elijah McCoy, who was also known as the Real McCoy, who basically invented a lot of improvements in the lubrications of trains. He also mentioned William Murray of Alexandria, Virginia, who invented a cornstalk harvester. He mentioned Joseph Hawkins, who invented an improved gridiron, as well as Henry Lee of Richmond, Virginia, who invented an animal trap in 1867. And among others, he even included himself. But Mr. Murray have also invented such things as a cotton chopper, a fertilizer distributor, as well as a plant cultivator, because he was a farmer also in Rembert, South Carolina, named Sumter. So he's put all this in this Congressional Record to show that the African Americans were capable of doing things with their minds as well as their bodies. So as a result of that, it went in the Congressional Record. But of course, very seldom do people read Congressional Records after they're written. So I reproduced that in this book, True Stories of Black South Carolina. Incidentally, when I was going around promoting this book a couple of years ago, I spoke in Columbia, South Carolina, and at one of these signings was Miss Emily Clyburn, the wife of South Carolina's current African-American congressman, and who at the time was the majority whip, James E. Clyburn. And so she saw this book, and we started talking about how the fact that Mr. Murray was the last black congressman from South Carolina during that period, and Mr. Clyburn was the first black congressman in South Carolina since the days of Mr. Murray. And so she said, "Mr. Fordham, do you know who this gentleman is?" And I said, "Yes, he's George Washington Murray. He's the last congressman from South Carolina during Reconstruction. And Mr. Clyburn is the first congressman from South Carolina since Reconstruction." She says, "Yes, that's also Jim Clyburn's cousin." So it goes to show you the type of things that you find when you start digging into this wonderful thing that we call history. This is Damon Fordham, and I hope you get a chance to see my book, True Stories of Black South Carolina, for more information. Have a good day.